You said. The old astronomer had studied the night sky for 40 years, but had never seen anything like what was happening tonight. From the observatory perched high on the mountain, the ancient telescope revealed something extraordinary. All the planets in the solar system were slowly moving into perfect alignment, something that occurred only once every 10,000 years. But this wasn't just any ordinary celestial event. According to the dusty manuscripts inherited from a predecessor, when the stars truly aligned, the barrier between worlds would thin, and impossible things would become possible. The astronomer had always been a person of science, believing only in what could be measured and proven. But tonight, as the planets drew closer to their destined positions, strange things began to happen. It started with the telescope itself. Instead of showing distant worlds as tiny dots of light, it began revealing them in impossible detail. The red deserts of one planet seemed close enough to touch. The swirling storms of another appeared to be calling out in voices only the heart could hear. Down in the valley below, the small town was experiencing its own mysteries. Street lights flickered in patterns that looked almost like Morse code. Animals gathered in the town square, all facing the sky as if waiting for something. Children woke from their sleep, speaking of vivid dreams about flying among the stars. The local teacher, who had always been fascinated by astronomy, felt an irresistible pull to climb the mountain. Without understanding why, footsteps led up the winding path toward the observatory, guided by an inner compass that had never existed before. At the same time, the town's young artist found brushes, moving across canvas without conscious direction, painting swirling galaxies and cosmic scenes that seemed to pulse with their own light. The paintings showed worlds beyond imagination, floating islands connected by bridges of starlight, cities built inside nebulae, beings made of pure energy dancing between the planets. The mechanic, who had always worked with engines and gears, discovered that tonight, machines responded to thoughts rather than tools. Car engines started with wishes, broken clocks began ticking in rhythm with heartbeats, and every piece of metal in the garage hummed with harmonious vibrations. Back at the observatory, the astronomer watched through the telescope as the final planet moved into position. At the moment of perfect alignment, something incredible happened. The barrier between the physical world and the realm of dreams dissolved completely. The teacher arrived at the observatory just as reality began to shift. Together, the two watchers saw the town below transform. Buildings lifted gently from their foundations, floating peacefully in the air like ships on a calm sea. Gardens bloomed with flowers that glowed like tiny stars, their petals falling upward into the night sky. People emerged from their homes, not in fear but in wonder. Some found they could step from rooftop to rooftop, as if walking on solid ground. Others discovered they could understand the language of the wind, which whispered secrets about distant galaxies and ancient civilizations. The young artist's paintings came alive, with painted birds taking flight from the canvases to soar among the real stars. The cosmic cities in the artwork became actual places that could be visited simply by believing in them strongly enough. The mechanics transformed machines became something far more magical. Cars turned into vessels capable of sailing through space, their headlights becoming beams of light that could reach other worlds. Every tool became an instrument for building bridges between dreams and reality. As the night progressed, the aligned planets began to tell their stories. Each world shared its history through colors that painted themselves across the sky. tales of civilizations that had learned to harness the power of starlight, of beings who had discovered that love was the fundamental force holding the universe together, of worlds where music had the power to heal and art could literally reshape reality. The astronomer realized that all those years of studying the stars had been preparation for this moment. The scientific knowledge wasn't separate from the magic, it was part of it. Understanding the mechanics of planetary motion made the miracle even more beautiful, not less. The teacher understood that every lesson taught about reaching for dreams had been literally true. When the stars aligned, dreams didn't just come true. They became the building blocks of a new reality. The artist saw that every painting, every creative vision, had been a glimpse of what was possible when the universe opened its doors. Art wasn't just representation, it was prophecy. The mechanic learned that the same principles that made machines work also governed the cosmic forces. Everything was connected, from the smallest gear to the largest galaxy, all part of one magnificent, perfectly synchronized system. As dawn approached, the planetary alignment began to shift. But the magic didn't fade. It settled into the hearts and minds of everyone who had experienced it. The town slowly returned to its normal appearance, but the people were forever changed. The astronomer continued studying the stars, but now saw them as old friends rather than distant objects. The teacher's lessons became filled with wonder and possibility. The artist's paintings bridged the gap between earth and sky. The mechanic's repairs seemed to fix not just machines, but the broken dreams of their owners. And in the town archives, a new entry was made. On the night when stars aligned, we learned that the universe is not a cold, empty place, but a living canvas where every dream, every hope, every act of love adds another star to the infinite sky. The next alignment wouldn't come for another 10,000 years, but it didn't matter. The people had learned the most important truth of all. That magic isn't something that happens to us from the outside. It's something we carry within us always, waiting for the right moment to shine. When stars align, they don't create miracles. They simply remind us that we are all made of stardust, and that the same forces that move planets through space also move love through hearts, dreams through minds, and hope through souls. And sometimes on especially clear nights, visitors to the small town report seeing something unusual: streetlights that flicker like Morse code, animals that gather to watch the sky, and the faint sound of cosmic music carried on the wind, as if the universe itself is humming a lullaby to all the dreamers below. The stars are always there, always turning, always waiting for hearts brave enough to believe that when the time is right, absolutely anything is possible.